Then he misspoke himself, because what he might have meant was that the comprehensive plan could put teeth into a zoning ordinance. But that's not happening. We're not changing the zoning ordinance. We're doing a comprehensive plan because...
A transfer of development rights.
May I finish, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're doing a comprehensive plan for the simple fact that the state pretty much requires us to. It's like a lot of other mandates.
Don't you have an old one?
No.
No, we don't.
A sword?
And no, we don't. And you know why we don't?
Exactly this reason.
And I'll tell you why we don't. Because I think 2 or 3 comprehensive plans that we tried to adopt, we tried to manufacture ourselves without a consultant. We formed committees, and the committees just did not work. We never could get a compromise. We could never get a group of people to agree on any one document. So we always ended up with nothing. So we spent years and years working for nothing. So at this point, when we said we had to do the comprehensive plan because it's, strongly suggested, let me put it that way, by the state, let's get a consultant, have them do it. We'll monitor what we want in there. We want a very simple, straightforward thing, not some big environmental document, which is what we're trying to do with all the little tabs on here where everybody's made suggestions, things that we want to take out, things like sidewalks and ridiculous things like all the utilities will be underground. We know that's not going to happen. So we don't need to garbage it up with that stuff. We all went through all of this once before. So if we didn't hire a consultant, you know where we'd be? We'd have 30 people sitting in here twice a month arguing with each other, and 2 years from now we'd still have nothing. And when we wanted to go for grant money, or just a minute please,
Okay.
and we wanted to go for grant money or something, and the question came up, do you have a comprehensive plan? What would our answer be? No. That's basically what it is.
Can I just add on just one thing? Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
I know you said you read it. Charlie, you can be my witness. One of the things that is in that is you're not going to find the word that we have to do anything. All the words, remember we changed it so that everything said it's possible that this could happen. Should was replaced by could.
I'm aware of that. But
And
there's stuff in there that doesn't have shoulds, that doesn't have
Then if it
coulds.
doesn't, then that will be changed, because that was the intent, because we went through it specifically to make sure. That document is not a final draft. That's not the final document. It's a draft. It's a working
It
copy.
also does not regulate streams. It does not regulate agricultural. It's a suggestion of what might happen.
What
You know
possibly
what?
could.
A year from now, another town board could say, "Yeah, we don't like this one. We're going to change it."
Actually, once you seed, 2 different things. Once you seed, there are many towns, I've read many cases where, first of all, the regulatory environment has become insane. Last week, EPA, it was in the papers, if you read, it was in the Wall Street Journal, it was in the New York Times, Steve also read it, that they're going to hire 230,000 regulators to be divided between the states. 230,000. That's a little frightening. Now, what is happening all around the country is that towns, okay, let's go right to Westchester.
But,
Right,
excuse me,
right,
if I could just interject. You're moving on to national politics, and we're talking about the
Let me wrap
mental
up what I was
health.
going to say here then. I felt great about this. We had that big bunch of people come. We had the next meeting the next day. It was all kumbaya. Bert spoke very nicely, and we were going to kind of go back and look at everything again. I felt great. And then at the end of that meeting, to my shock and many other people's shock, the next thing we hear is Mr. I don't know how to pronounce your name, sir. Mr. Vargas?
Vargas.
Okay. Mr. Vargas stands up and says, we haven't added housing. And then Sylvia says, yes, I don't know whether the expression was affordable or low-income housing. I watched, so to me that was like, all of a sudden it's pedal to the metal. We're coming up with more crazy stuff that completely undoes the nature of the
Linda,
town.
That suggestion is a required recommendation of the county planning department for housing to be added.
Doesn't mean we have to do
They
it.
require us to add housing to our plan.
No, suggested.
No.
That was also some of the
Right now-
suggestions that came in public
Right now,
comment.
it's a requirement. You guys can override it
That's right.
before voting.
Everybody can suggestions. Yours are just as valid as somebody else's.
I have a question. How are we funding the rest of this master plan if we've already spent $47,000?
We're not.
That's the problem.
We were gonna work on it until old Irene came along, but right now, we can't afford anything. If you wanna stay under this 2%.
Where can we get the accounting of what it was? Because when you sat here, it was supposed to be, let's say, 15,000, and then we found out the next day it was 47. How did that jump so quickly? And what I was amazed at is Rudikoff and Associates sat here, listened to you say it, and never corrected you during the meeting.
They looked up here and had some funny looks on their faces.
But who?
But the reason that slipped by is when the bills came in, they went to CWC. Okay?
All right.
I didn't
So
keep a running
CW
total. In the beginning, we told him we didn't want to go over that number. So, with CWC paying the bill, they seem to have gotten it up there, haven't they?
I'd like to know when they submitted their bills.
Well, then call up CWC and have them give you an accounting.
Okay.
They've all been signed by me, if you want to know.
Excuse me, also,
You know, I don't know where this has come into a public hearing on the planning board here, but the master plan, because it really isn't.
someone
But
brought it
I'll
up.
give you one more statement here, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, that's fair, thank you. You know, that nice Toby Carey movie he made years ago about the flooding of all these towns and how there was no way of stopping it and the city wanted control. The city still wants.
remember that.
Well, the city still wants control, and I want to point out that within that document is a request for more land buying when we're 60% vacant. That's madness.
Glenda, it's not in there anymore. See
I'm
where
very
it
glad
gaps?
to know that.
One of the things we took out.
Good.
I
Thank
went
you.
through we went through that whole thing at the last time.
I'm very concerned because I know a lot of people in Saugerties who, because of what Mr. Bogus says, that the town board didn't turn it down, and now they're going to be stuck with possibly a big unaffordable housing complex.
Hey, Glenda, one of the things you need to get hold of and read is the town zoning code. One of the things that's not in it is apartment buildings.
Is what?
Apartment buildings.
So anybody can
You
build a
can't,
home.
you can't build one of those complexes in this town right now because it's not in our zoning to allow it. We're not talking about changing that document.
But right now, I can give you a New York Times article and Wall Street Journal article that said because in Westchester, they
We're not in
built up, no, but still, but HUD, I'm talking about, they built a HUD housing, and now HUD is determining in what they're considering their own new mandate, they are now demanding that the county override town zoning codes. Ergo, they're all going to court. I think you should be kept abreast. What I will do, instead of talking about it again, I will make the copies, I will deliver them. Thank you for letting me say about what's happening in Westchester and zoning because they took HUD money. It's different than it used to be when you did Tom Hill Pines. That's it. Thank you for letting me talk about that. Sorry.
Okay, let's go on to committee reports, parks and playgrounds, if we can speed it up a little bit.
Sylvia, I'm sorry I don't have a written report. We did meet, the soccer program is run into a bit of problems, and we're trying to work that out, and we're also trying to work out problems with with the Little League. So that was what we did meet on. The fall softball league is in full swing right now, and we're working on getting basketball and everything else all up together. So that's about it.
Okay. Charlie?
I just wanted
Were
to
you
make,
resting your arm there before? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I didn't want to go by you.
that's fine, I just wanted to make one comment.